Now going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have YouTube. It claims Steven Crowder broke their rule about violent organized crime in order to censoring him revealing the infamous trans shooter Manifesto from Nashville, Tennessee. Now this comes from Steven doing a screenshot of his message from YouTube that he posted on Twitter, which is the only place where I'm not seeing a massive amount of censorship for this particular issue. Every else is pretty much deleting all the videos. YouTube especially. I briefly covered the topic, and that was vis-a-vis kind of a, not directly addressed the topic, but I addressed it when I was talking about the instance where you had the Daily Wire versus Steven Crowder 2.0, where the CEO of the Daily Wire did call out Steven Crowder, applauding him for breaking the story, but he also insulted it at the same time, kind of like a backhanded compliment. And that in and of itself caused a cultural rift throughout the conservative community, as both those companies are very famous conservative, fast-growing conservative-based companies. Many people might argue that Steven Crowder is much more conservative in his beliefs because of a myriad of reasons, but that's one of the reasons I think his growth rate is increasing throughout the years in terms of the people who are following him and joining his infamous Mug Club, which was the mechanism which really broke the story, because one of his contributors, one of the people who actually pays to be a subscriber to support free speech via Steven Crowder, well, they actually gave him the information for this manifesto when the government and everyone were trying to cover it up, which is a very unique value prop when it comes to freedom of information and the First Amendment, which is becoming all too rare these days, unfortunately. Now, specifically, Steven says before the actual screenshot, he says, quote, investigative journalism is now considered, quote unquote, organized crime according to YouTube. Wait until you have to see what we have in store tomorrow. Rumble only, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And he does hashtag Nashville Manifesto and hashtag Mug Club Undercover. Now, the YouTube specifically says, hi, Steven Crowder. We wanted to let you know our team reviewed your content and we think it violates our violent criminal organization's policy. We know you might have not realized that this was a violation of our policies, so we're not applying a strike to your channel. However, we have removed the following content from YouTube. Podcast episode, LWC exclusive, Nashville school shooter Manifesto leaked. We realize this may be disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure YouTube is a safe place for all. If you think we made a mistake, you can appeal the decision below. You'll find more details below. More details include our policy says content that glorifies violent criminal organizations or incites violence is not allowed on YouTube. We review educational, documentary, artistic, and scientific content on a case-by-case basis. Limited exceptions are made for content which is sufficient and appropriate context, and where the purpose of the posting is clear, please refer to our help center, blah, blah, blah. Also, a lot of legalese and a lot of bombastic way of saying, screw you, we make the rules as we choose. And I've noticed this myself. If you actually look at the YouTube terms and conditions, they're written purposely to be as ambiguous as possible. Even most lawyers can't understand it, I suspect. Partially just to have YouTube to the point where they have all the cards. They're holding all the keys. I forget the actual metaphor from the Matrix, but you get the point. I'll look it up sometime. But nevertheless, that got 2.1 million views and 25,000 likes. So it certainly went viral on the Twitter sphere. Now, one of the first, and I would also one of the most important comments in below actually comes from the channel on Twitter for Rumble. Rumble says, quote, Rumble will hold the line for citizen journalism, unquote. Although I butchered it, so let me rephrase it. Rumble will hold the line for citizen journalism, unquote. Now, granted, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but if you click the subscribe button, it may help my stuttering or, in this case, just messing up words. I think it's gotten better throughout the years. Well, I guess it hasn't been a year yet. Throughout the past couple episodes, I believe it's gotten a little bit better thanks to the increased subscriber count. That is perhaps more legitimate than some doctors? Maybe. Subscribe and let's find out. It can't hurt, that's all I'm saying. Now, that statement by Rumble got 1,600 likes. And you have someone by the name of C. Smith saying, quote, crazy, not surprising how fast all these major news networks companies have suppressed this, getting 650 likes. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, what a joke YouTube has become, unquote, getting 747 likes. Guidemaster Zoe, the streamer, says, quote, wow, hashtag Elon Musk should buy hashtag YouTube to fix this too, unquote, getting 422 likes. Which is also ridiculous. There's no way Elon could pull that off. even if now my ADHD is getting the better of me, but what is Google's stock right now? I mean, prior Google acquisition, of course, I mean, he could have bought the company, although not at the time with the resource allocation that he had. I mean, Elon for most of his career was paid $1 salary as mostly stock, and stock takes a while to vet and actually get paid out and be issued. Now I'm curious. And there's also certain periods where you are or are not allowed to sell the stock if you're a part of the company. So what is Google stock today? Would it be possible? I don't think so. But would it be possible for Elon to buy Google? Well, let's see. Google doesn't like being bullied, perhaps. I was just poking fun at them, and now it's going slower than molasses. Although, let's see, Google stock. Well, let's try something better like Brave. Of course, Brave works instantly. Google also reorganizes Apple. Their current stock price is $133 per share. Now, what's the market cap? That's not as much as I thought, actually. Interesting. So, yeah, even Apple's worth more than Google. Interesting. So, again, it's still more money than I could possibly fathom having myself. But nevertheless, right now, Google stock is currently worth, again, the market cap of all the stock is all worth $1.54 trillion. But what's Elon net worth? Elon net worth. Because what is he worth right now? Because he had to take out a loan to buy Twitter. It wasn't all him and his cash. See, okay, so this is according to Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, or a handful, depending on your serving size. It says, as of November 2023, Elon's net worth is estimated between $198 billion and $220 billion. So at most, and again, this isn't really conceivable because if Elon were to sell all of his Tesla stock, it would also degrade that stock as well. It would be worth less and less and less every time he's selling it. So even if he were to somehow magically liquidate it at the top of the stock, which because of the rates at which he could sell, I don't think is, and because he's a leader of the company, I don't think it's possible. But let's say it's possible. He could liquidate everything. I mean, he could only buy, what is it, 220 billion of 1.54 trillion? I mean, that's still not even a fourth of the company's value. And that's with Elon going all in. So, interesting comment. So I was kind of curious, could he conceivably do that? But not with I'm trying to conceivably think, not with the current resource allocation he has. You would need multiple Elon Musk in order to buy Google. And even then, you'd have to have the shareholders vote. I mean, it's highly, let me just clarify, it is possible for that to happen if he has extra friends that help him out, but highly improbable is what I should say. Although, I think for freedom of speech, that would be exceptional because Google has so much control. Everything from swaying elections, where they're having selecting reminders, they're having selective results when you're searching for campaign donations. There are many reasons I think that would be a benefit for Elon to acquire it. But again, I guess if you're listening and you're a trillionaire, hit up Elon Musk and yeah, let's make that happen. But if you're like me, that's just not in the cards at the moment. Going back to the comments, nevertheless, we have one bad dude saying, quote, things are getting spicy and we still have a year until the election, unquote, 488 likes. And I can't help but agree. I think there's going to be an increase ramped up in censorship as you get closer and closer to the election, especially with these hot topics, which I have this on the culture part of the podcast, but you could certainly argue this is part of the politics as well, because the government over in Tennessee, the local officials, they all try to hide the data from you and I. And of course, you have the FBI and all those other organizations hiding the data as well. And what's so morally abhorrent and disgusting is that we shouldn't be surprised that the Nashville, Tennessee shooter who happened, the trans shooter, who was very anti-white, actually had white pejorative slurs in the manifesto. No one is surprised at that because, again, it's the one time the manifesto wasn't released. Every time the manifesto is against certain organizations or groups, it's released in minutes. We have all the details. As the details are trying to suppress as much as possible. And we've seen this bias time and time again when it comes to active shooter situations. Very similar to the Arlington, Texas shooting incident where you had a student do a morally abhorrent, disgusting thing and use a gun negatively towards other students. It was on the news for a fraction of a second, but as soon as the race of that perpetrator was revealed, the story is buried. Don't talk about it again. So it was very similar to the gay nightclub shootout, where they had that shootout, the orientation of that person was revealed, and that story just went away because it doesn't fit the main narrative. I mean, if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I can't help it. I think a lot of people in the middle are starting to notice these huge discrepancies in the reporting. Now, nevertheless, let me know that the tangents or moderate tangents or ADHD comments are too much, but I'll get back to the comments nevertheless. Someone by the name of Golden Memes, who, I don't want to say they get an F, but D-, because they responded by just saying something. They didn't respond with a meme, and yet their name is Golden Memes. Not good marketing, Golden Memes. Nevertheless, Mr. Golden Memes says, quote, X will be the last platform standing, unquote, getting 919 likes, which I agree. Zoopop says, quote, we think is a bold statement under such policy, unquote, getting 516 likes. Scott Gouliet says, quote, anything to protect a trans murderer, unquote, getting 327 likes. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any contrarian comments, but overall, I'm not too surprised, but they're overwhelmingly supportive of Steven and the statements. Somebody named of Patches says, quote, the moment when you realize you struck a nerve and they do everything they can to suppress the truth, unquote, getting 326 likes. Melissa Tate says, quote, the fascist left strikes again with Soviet-style censorship. We need to ditch these platforms, sign up for Crowder's platform Mug Club, and support independent voices like Alex Jones and the Hodge twins, unquote. She got 356 likes. A lot of likes, between 50 and 100, just saying how much YouTube is censoring them. It censors your face unapologetically. Travis says he's deleting YouTube, getting 90 likes. The Breaking Report says, quote, they literally removed Steven's content and claimed it was, quote, glorifying violence, even though he was doing the complete opposite, unquote, getting 85 likes, which, of course, do you think they're glorifying violence? They either never tune into his show or they're purposely deceitful. Because I would also argue most humans would never glorify violence. Unfortunately, there are some that do. Interestingly enough, they're never the ones who are censored because of what they're glorifying. But nevertheless, another topic for another time, perhaps. Let's get a couple more comments here. Let's see. A lot of people saying Rumble is the last standing ground for free speech. Let's see. Someone by the name of John's Memes, who does get an A+ for marketing because he responded with a meme, so I approve, has a picture of a whole crowd of the NPC Gray cartoon, and it says in really bold, big font, free speech, and then they say in smaller font, is dangerous unless liberals control it, unquote, and they get 183 likes. Let's see here. Someone by the name of Smurf, more of a contrarian statement, says, quote, so YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all are doing the same thing on this. What are they so worried about, unquote? Getting 5 likes. Oh, so no, actually, no, that's still on point. Or based, as the youth might say. Let's see here. So it looks like overwhelming support. A lot of people saying they should sue YouTube, which, again, I don't know if it's possible to win a successful suit against them. You also need a copious amount of resources because, again, Google is a $1 trillion company with legal teams probably larger than most football teams or sports ball teams. And, again, the language of the terms and conditions as well as the monetization, I guess they demonetized them a long time ago, but all these rules are so vague and so open to interpretation. It's just the gray area they themselves create so that they could pretty much have all the upside and none of the downside. So it'll be interesting to see, will this drive a greater adoption rate of people using platforms like Rumble? One of the most difficult things to do is displacing a technology or breaking a habit when so many people are used to the convenience of YouTube. It'll be interesting to see how many people are willing to make a change. I've recently synced my channel to Rumble, so ideally it's not instantaneous, but these videos should also equally be posted on Rumble as well, because I know that is a great growing alternative, and they truly stand for free speech, which again is a rare thing these days. So let me know in the comments, do you think this will be a great driver for the increased adoption rate of stuff like Rumble as well as Twitter and X? And if you're not a part of the Steven Crowder Mug Club, why are you not? It'll be interesting to see what's the newest, greatest media outlet when no one respects the legacy ones. Fox News is basically a joke at this point. They have 19 people who still tune in on a daily basis, and most of them do not have the cognitive ability to change the channel. God bless their souls. But some of those instances where a lot of people are moving on. No one's really tuning into the traditional media outlets in that regard. They're looking at things like the Daily Wire, like Louder Than Crowder, like the Hodge Twins. There's a lot of alternatives, which is great because that's the beauty of capitalism. The best solutions will brew to the surface. Pun moderately intended, since you could put a brew into the actual mug of Mug Club. This is a little bit of a stretch, but I got there. Let me know. Be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of November, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, the comments are a great way to let me know how I can improve the channel and make the show better and better together. I appreciate your input, and especially the harsh critique, because I say that is how you grow the most. Also, and lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your enemies, heck, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight,